morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Shalewa Omokumbi Dosumo, and this is Mirror House Concept. And we're still on our topic, losing my religion. Today we have a twist to this. It's going to be an interesting show today. I have a couple of college students, and they want to do this as a group, and I have to accommodate them. So I said yes, because I believe they will be able to open up and talk and flow a lot better as a group. So I'm going to, as always, I'm going to usher them in and have them introduce themselves. Don't go anywhere. Like I said, this is going to be interesting. Once again, it's your girl, Shalewa Omokumbi Dosumu from Mirror House Concept. Hold on. It's your girl, Shalewa Dosumu, Mirror House Concept. Holla at your girl. Any religious background or holla at your girl. Being you Christian, Muslim, Atheist, any religion, holla at your girl. Being you black, white, any cultural or ethnicity, holla at your girl. If you switched your religion to a different religion ever, holla at your girl. If you stop believing, holla at your girl. To share your story with the world, holla at your girl. Shalewa Dosumu, holla at your girl. Let's talk about this Mirror House Concept. Holla at your girl. I got you. Holla at your girl.
We're all good.
Okay, I'm going to allow you guys to introduce yourselves. I'd rather you guys introduce, because you can do a way better job than I can. So you can take turns and introduce yourself.
Okay, Kosi, you go first.
Okay.
You want me to call names?
No, that's fine. We just go in order. My name is Kosi Juchima. I'm a junior at Kennesaw State University. That's pretty much it, I guess. Does that suffice as an introduction? I'm not sure.
Are you a Christian? Your religious background would help also.
I was born and raised Roman Catholic.
Okay.
And still Catholic.
Okay. So who's next?
I can go next. My name is Rio Kabar. I'm a sophomore at Kennesaw State University. I grew up Muslim, but I don't follow any religion as of right now.
Okay. Perfect. Who's next?
Okay, go Zach. Fine.
My name is Zach Bones. I'm a sophomore at Kennesaw State, and I was brought up Roman Catholic, but as of now, I don't follow any religion.
Okay.
I'm agnostic.
Okay.
I'm Roman Vernon. I'm also a sophomore at Kennesaw. I grew up Christian. I think it's Baptist. I'm not really affiliated with any religion right now, I guess.
At the moment. Okay.
Yeah.
So nice to meet you guys. Normally the way I do this show, I do one-on-one. But when Kosi told me that he'll rather do like you guys together, I'm like, that would be interesting. I would love to see how that turns out. So I'll ask a question and we just discuss it. So it's more like a discussion, right?
Okay.
And I want us to be real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the show is Mirror House Concept. So to no judgment, no be you. This is just I purposely started this because I went through a lot of stuff growing up as a Christian, and I'm I grew up in Nigeria. Actually, I grew up in Lagos, Nigeria, and as a Christian, I went through so much. That's part of what encouraged me to do this, in order to tell my story, to provide a platform for people to tell their story also, and to see what the church can do, or what the mosque can do, the Buddhist temple can do. This is not just for Christians. So this is for Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, whatever religion you are. what they can do to make it more accommodating, to make it more welcoming, to make it more a home, a solace, a place of comfort for the children, for the youth, for our young adults. So my first question is, growing up, what was the thing about church that, or mosque or Buddhist temple that that encouraged you to want to be there?
For me, I never grew up going to a mosque or anything.
Okay.
My family was very lax on it. We still followed some major parts of the religion, but we never really just went to a mosque at all. I've been exactly one time, and that wasn't even for us personally.
Okay.
We went with another family
Okay.
as respect for them.
Okay.
For me, my family always used to go to church every Sunday. And the thing that like encouraged me to want to go more was like my parents always told me that it was better for me, like, if you have to go to church every Sunday, or like, that's not good if you don't go for the religion in general.
Okay.
So, and I was like, I don't want to, commit a sin or go to hell, I guess. And so that's the only that really encouraged me to go.
Okay.
Yes.
I think the only thing that okay.
No.
All right, okay.
No.
I think the only thing that encouraged me to go to, well, first, I didn't really have a lot of encouragement to go to church.
Okay.
A lot of it was because whenever like I would go with my family, I was old enough to like understand like a lot of stuff, and I wasn't like a not smart kid or anything like that. But the messages they were giving were very like geared towards adults,
Okay.
or abstract.
Okay.
So I was always fairly like lost, and I either like didn't understand, or when I did understand, I didn't have like the life experience to understand how it would apply to me in the situation or anything like that.
Okay.
And I wasn't like worried about, oh, I'm committing a sin by not going to church or anything, because I did not believe in God or anything like that, but I didn't understand how that would be a sin or anything like that. And they had like children's school and whatnot, but the children's school was too dumbed down. Instead of giving you like messages about the religion, they would give you like messages like of life, but disguised like and geared towards a religion, kind of, but too like baby level of like intellect kind of thing. The only reason I like was okay with going sometimes was like because the people there, the people I met that were my age or a little older, they were all like cool, and we would hang out afterwards and whatnot.
Okay.
Roman, I'm actually glad you talked first, because I relate very well to Roman. Going to church, one of the main things that really made me go was my friends there.
Okay.
I had some friends that I only saw at church, and I would go, or like I'd be happy to go just to see them.
Okay.
On the other hand, a lot of the things they were saying, I was like, I don't think this applies to me.
Okay.
Or what are you talking about right now? I'm not following per se. But it's different, because I grew up in Nigeria, right? And church there is fairly long. It's fairly longer than church here in the USA. So and my family, we went to church during the week as well. So we'd go probably like 5 times out of the 7-day week, or maybe 6 times out of the 7-day week.
Me
and
too.
me growing up, me growing up, I guess, coming back from school and just wanting to play video games, to play with my friends, I'm wondering, why am I leaving all this to go to church for 3 hours every day? And I don't know, I guess it kind of made non-fond memories of church growing up. But I did enjoy going to like see the people I liked there.
Your friends.
Yeah, my friends.
Mm. Okay. And you know, the funniest thing is I have had this with a bunch of youth, a bunch of teenagers, and they tell me the same thing. And I felt the same way. In all fairness, when I was growing up, I had no clue what they're talking about in church. Like, okay, what does that even mean? So we were told, and you know, you can, Cozy, I can relate. I mean, you can relate when it comes to African church, where they say you just have to learn the Bible verses. You have to be able to recite it when they call you to come and recite it.
Yeah.
What it means, nobody knows. Like, okay, so why can't I wear black again?
Yeah,
You're not really telling me,
there were a lot of
okay,
like
I can't wear
rules
red. Why
and
not? So I can relate. So
yeah.
let me go to my next question. It says my next question is, so we're gonna flip it now and say, growing up, what are the things that discouraged you about going to church?
I can go first again.
Okay.
So I grew up in a very rural part of South Carolina, like almost countryside.
Mhm.
And I was born in 2000, so like very close to what happened in 2001. So you know, my family always speaking Arabic. That was my first language. A big thing that discouraged me in like practicing the religion was just the fact that the area I was at was predominantly white, and in the most aggressive way possible, especially after 2001. And like I was a baby, so like I couldn't understand those things. I couldn't understand what was happening. But as I grew older, I think having those views like be present, that definitely scared me a lot. So my family to begin with wasn't like super religious. We were like, if you want to follow it, you can. If you're not going to, that's okay. Religion is supposed to be something you want to do, not really something that you have to. So my mother never made me wear like a hijab or anything else. She doesn't wear it either. And I wore it for a little bit, and then some stuff happened in elementary school where we had like a what was it? It was like a bomb drill, and I was escorted out because I was just wearing a hijab. And I think I didn't wear one after that, but it was just kind of like that whole thing was very shocking, especially as a child. But other than that, it was more so like they said, it was stuff that you were being taught and not really understanding, not being given a reason why that you needed to really follow it. And like I wasn't really about that. I don't like not like doing things and not understanding why I'm doing them. So I think that, and the fact that in Islam it's kind of very pushy. If you're going to go to a mosque, you have to cover up. You have to do all of the rounds of prayer, the up down, and it was just a lot. It was very pushy, very off-putting as a kid. So yeah, that's a big reason why I really don't follow the religion as much or don't go to mosques or anything.
Funny enough, I can relate with you also, because my father was a conk, and I said was because he's late. My father was a conk Muslim. Like he pray 5 times a day.
Oh, they get intense
like
about it.
2 in his city or something like that, or number 1. But he was a dedicated Muslim. I was Christian the Muslim way when I was born. But one thing, the funniest thing is all his children were all Christians. And when he comes to visit from Nigeria, he will come to church with us. He'll sit down with me and just show me similarities between the Quran and the Bible. And I'm like, okay, why all this craziness? Why are people acting as if one religion is different from the other? Why are we acting like one is better than the other?
It's just slight interpretations. That's all it really is.
It's like English and Arabic, different language. That's all it is.
They mean the same thing.
And we have, as much as they have the fanatics, the fanatic Muslims that are causing trouble. We have the Christians too that are causing trouble. So
Right.
it goes both ways. So I can
It does.
I can relate with and 2001 too. I was very much around. I just had my twin boys there, so whoo, I can relate. I do understand what you're talking about. Okay, so who wants to go next?
I can go next.
Okay.
So this kind of goes off the back of what Kosi said a bit ago, but I don't know how it is for like other churches, but for primarily African churches, they are very long. They're very long.
It is so
They're very
long.
long for like not a lot of reasons. They will be like like whatever they were called, like my pastor or like the people that were saying scriptures up on the podium or whatever. They would repeat things loudly a lot. And so as a kid, I didn't know this until I was like more older, but I'm like kind of sensitive to super like loud sounds. So being in like a huge like church room where they have like enormous speakers and and the bands, and they're like screaming like verses and things, and people are like on the floor crying for some reason, and I just like I was always like overwhelmed. Like I very much wanted to leave fairly quickly, especially when they got that intense. And there was also like things that I never understood of why they did them. Like I understand the symbolism and whatnot, like baptism, for example. Like as a kid growing up, I understood like what it was, but when you see like without any context, if you see like a person take like a baby and dunk it in the water like completely, and
you're when I saw that
chicken nugget,
you're like why? You don't really get it, and it just looks so odd. And people I feel like in those type of situations and scenarios of big groups, of when it's supposed to be like all emotional and you're supposed to be either like getting over something like that God's like taking you through or something like that, or he's helping you with this or that, people get very emotional in the group like aspect of it, and they like break down and start crying, and that always like weirded me out. When people got too into it, it always seemed to me like they would get like too into it, and they would like break down on the floor and be on the floor. They wouldn't be standing anymore, and people would have to like get like tissues for them and help them up. And I was always very detached from that, and I never really understood what that was, and that kind of weirded me out. I don't mean this in like a disrespectful way, but it kind of it kind of gave me like culty vibes sometimes, and that always weirded me out too. But yeah,
I think the aspect, I think it has to do with the pain a lot of people carry in their hearts. And there's some people that they're very, very emotional. If you're an emotional person and you have a lot of pain that you're dealing with, issues you're dealing with, those two together, it's like an explosive kind of thing. So I think it has to do, mostly it has to do with that. But this is not no statistics, not confirmed. This is just my opinion, what I think is going on. Because me, I'm an emotional person. When I sing, and I sing also. So when I sing from when it's from my soul, every part of me. It comes out in a way that my pain, it kind of channels pain in my heart sometimes. So that's why I think maybe that's what that was all about. And the loud noise, I know I know what you mean. That's why a lot of us were very, very loud, because we grew up in that.
Yeah.
We grew up with that noise. So thank you for that. That's really interesting. So who's next? Oh yes.
Go.
Something that discouraged me from going to church was they really, I feel like they try to put in your head what was right and what was wrong. And for me, I'm very different from my family in terms of thinking. Like my whole family's like very like Catholic. Like my mom, dad, my brothers, they're very Catholic, and they all think very differently than me, I guess. Like they say like, like how it's wrong to be gay and stuff like that, and there's like other stuff with like abortion, and I completely disagree with it. And my family has always brought me up to be like, no, that's like all this is wrong, and they like made me like join them in like protests and stuff when I was younger, which I did not like, and it made me feel very uncomfortable. So that's what, and ever since I moved away, my parents live in Utah now. So ever since they moved away, that's when I stopped going to church, because I go to church with them out of respect
Mm.
for like their religion. They
Mm.
don't. I haven't told them that I'm agnostic
Okay.
yet, because it would just have a lot
Oh,
of
you're gonna
conflict
watch
that I do
this?
not want to
They're gonna
deal
watch
with.
this?
Yeah.
Hopefully, if they watch my show, they'll know.
They're gonna watch this?
Yeah, hopefully they don't, or if they do, hi mom.
The
But if they I just didn't like, I don't want to deal with that telling them that I don't follow religion, because it'd be like a very huge rift in our relationship, because also growing up, my family like taught me that like other religions were like not wrong, but like
And they'll go to
it
hell.
was kind of wrong. Yeah, it would go to hell basically. And that also took me away from like my other family, because my mom is from Malaysia, and
Mm.
Malaysia is basically 50-50 Muslim
Yeah.
Christian, so Catholic. And so it's just sucks that I can't meet that other part of my family, because my parents just don't want me to meet them, because they have another religion.
Mm. Mm.
And that's also just why I don't want to I just don't go to church and practice that part of the religion.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Mhm.
I feel what you're talking about. I
Mhm.
kind of I can understand where you're coming from. So
Yeah.
I believe I can understand where you're coming from. Um, everybody spoke, right?
I haven't spoken.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know. You're good.
Sorry,
I don't
Cozy.
mind. You're okay. I was actually thinking about this while Zach was talking, and I have a pretty interesting story. So when I was going to boarding school in Nigeria, it was usually so we're obviously divided into like 6 classes, GS1, GS2, GS3, SS1, SS2, SS3. So the way the boarding works is so GS1s, 2, and 3 can stay in like a dorm, and SS1s, 2, and 3 can stay in a dorm. So you have upperclassmen staying with lowerclassmen. So when I was in SS1 staying with SS3s, there was this particular SS3 who had like his dad was a high government official. So funnily enough, like in anime, he had like the student council power where he was untouchable by most teachers and like
Of course.
yeah, because of like his parents' status. It was a very weird dynamic. However, at some point he took up religion, and he took up this facade that he was like chosen by God, and he became like the minister of administering God's word into the lower classmen. So he would come into the rooms at like 3 a.m., force everyone to wake up and start praying. And if you weren't praying, he would like hit you with a bell or whatever.
Oh wow.
And he would always like, he would have the Bible, and he would like talk about the Bible and use the Bible as justifications for what he was doing. And I always thought, if this random person right now is doing this, how much of the Bible is true? Because a lot of those is just people using God's word for like whatever they want. So I think it was at that point that I just decided that I would go with what I thought was right. And I think it was at that point that I was like, okay, I'm a little bit done with church for now. You know, I think that really desensitized me to the whole church experience.
I can also say I got you. I feel you, because I seriously, I remember I grew up in a boarding school in Nigeria also, and I remember the born again, before I became born again, the born again Christians in Nigeria back then, they for no reason I was not attracted, not drawn to join them. like when I went to school, trust me, I was a tough kid. So you're not gonna bully me. So when they are the most unforgiving, the most judgmental. And I remember getting into a fight with one of them. I remember saying, you know what? Because I don't know what she did to my sister. And my sister came to me and like she really hurt my sister. So I sent everybody out of the dorm, shut all the doors, and I dealt with her in my way. So I and this is a woman that leads prayer and all that, like you said. You see them in the middle of the night praying. What I do, I call the school proprietor, because the school I grew up in, you're not allowed to do things like that. You're not allowed to. Our proprietor will say there's no God. You're not allowed to go sit down and say you're reading your Bible. So when they start doing that at night, I'll go call our proprietor, say they're praying at the back of the hostel again. And he will come and whoop each and every one of them. So I trust me, I know where you're coming from there. And the ones here are different. And now I've been to one church also. With me, I always have to do my nails. And the pastor, it was my birthday, and because at that point, I stopped going to church. And that pastor, so I said, let me just go to a church near my house. And the pastor called me out, and he told me I have the claws of the devil because I have my nails on. And I looked at him, I'm like, okay, you have 2 minutes to give me back my hand, or you're about to lose yours. Because I know, I read my Bible. I have my own understanding. So I can relate to where you're coming from. And it's good to sort out your own salvation. Get your own understanding. You understand what I'm saying? Like, in general,
Yeah.
if have a relationship. Nobody's I always tell people that the pastors are like a class captain. They're like nobody's has a special direct line to God. We all have a voice to call on to him, each like the way we want to. So I can relate to somebody just coming and saying, okay, you have to pray or we're going to beat everybody in class. So I understand that also. Anyway, let me go to the next question, because Zoom, they don't give us that much time. So growing up, what part of church can you, or mosque, or the temple, can you say played a role in molding you into who you are today, into the person you are today? Do you think church has anything to do with it? Who wants to?
I think it definitely can.
Okay.
For me personally, it doesn't go directly back to like being in a mosque or in a church. I have gone to church a couple times, again, out of like respect for the people that I'm with. But I think like back to the blatant Islamophobia that like took place after 2001.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I think for me, it just kind of instilled the idea that I'm already an outsider to these people. They aren't going to accept me just because I'm not even like follow this religion, but because I speak this language that is associated with this religion. So I think for me, just knowing that I'm already an outsider to them just kind of solidified, okay, they're not going to accept me. Why don't I just be whoever the hell I want to be? And like, I identify as a trans man. Of course, my mother's religion wouldn't accept that. No. And I've come to terms with that. I would hope that she would still accept it. But it was just kind of a like, okay, both of these places don't like who I am. Neither of these things are catered for me anyway. What's the point? Like, I'm okay just not following a religion and still being whoever I want to be.
Just to quickly say something. If we run out of time and we get kicked out, so just give me like 5 minutes so that I can download the recording. Then we can log back in. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Go ahead. So who's next? Who wants to
Um,
go next?
I have a pretty brief one.
Don't make me start calling names.
I don't know if we'll all have answers to every question,
Of
but
course.
we can try. Um, so a lot of the times in church, my family and I we'd go, and a lot of the times I'd go for no reason. It'd be they had like something to do because both my parents had pretty high standings in the church.
Mhm.
My dad was like the secretary of the church, and my mom was like the head of the women's organization. So a lot of the times they'd go to church for their functions or their meetings, and they'd take me along. And I'd always, or a lot of times we'd go for service and they'd have to stay a lot of extra time for their meetings. And sometimes I'd be there for 2 extra hours with no one, just on my own in like a cold, very open area, just waiting for my parents. So I think experiences like that made me want to stay away from churches as much as possible.
Okay.
For me, I don't think the church really uh played any in any way in molding me who I am now.
Mm.
Um, it was more so my parents that made me. Like, I mean, kind of like same with Kosi. Like my parents just brought me to church, and they were also like part of the service there too. So I had to stay extra. So I can relate to that very hard. But that made me not want to go either. And like I wouldn't say it molded me into being who I am now. I think I am just who I always was in general. I think I was just hiding it because of going to church and all that.
Being
So,
judged.
Pretty much.
mhm.
Okay. Who's next?
I guess that's me. I don't really think the going to church or church or religion in general like molded me to be who I am. I don't think that I think I always would have ended up the same way no matter what happened. If I went to church or if I didn't go to church, if I kept going or not. Probably because at a young age I was kind of uh solidified in like or more solidified in who I was and what I was growing up to be. Uh, as I got older, my mom she would call me like, especially for food because I was picky when I was growing up. She would call me like an old man because I was already like set in my ways and who I was and whatnot. And so I don't think like going to church would have changed anything, or I don't think it changed anything about me. It just gave me like things to think about.
Okay.
I suppose.
Okay. Um, I like that answer also. So let me see if I can quickly throw in one more question. So growing up, what would have inspired you to continue going to being a part of a church, mosque, the temple? Now, what would you have loved to see that would have been like something that would have encouraged you to stay? Say, you know what, I want to do this.
For me, I think what would encourage me to stay is if it didn't make it seem so much like other religions were like bad and like it made it to where like you can like be friends with anyone part of the other religion or anything like that. Because, well, my church personally, I don't know if like this is any other Roman Catholic church that does that. Like they would talk about how like there's no other God and like I mean that's just part of the commandments. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
okay, yeah, and it was like it made me feel bad for like because I had friends who were part of different religions and they'd want me to attend their stuff with them. I'd be like, I couldn't because my parents would get angry at me. I was like, I just can't do that. So I think if churches played a bigger role in being less judgmental of other religions and also like just like of certain people in general who just have a different beliefs, I think that would have inspired me to keep on going.
That's nice.
I think for me, I would just like to see a lot more inclusion because I feel like they said, there's a lot of you have to be this way in order to be like correct or not sinful or go to heaven and stuff like that. I just think religion can be interpreted in any way that is important to you.
Mm.
And I feel like having that be more important and like more accessible to those types of people would just be a lot more like inviting.
Yeah,
at
win them
least.
over with love.
Yeah, it feels very exclusionary when it's like promoted or like talked about. So I think that would help a lot with not only me, but like with a lot of other people.
I think that the inclusion thing is fairly large, like as a subject, because a lot of churches, I didn't go to any churches, like fortunately for me, I didn't go to any churches where they like shunned homosexual people or anything like that. They, I wouldn't say they encouraged it. Oh, let me think of the word for this. I wouldn't say they encouraged it, but they were definitely fine.
Nonchalant.
Like
They
danced
were
around it?
No, they didn't dance. They talked about it a few times. It wasn't negative either. It was more like a very weird type of acceptance. Like they acknowledged that, yeah, you should accept, like, oh, this is who you are and whatnot. But it was odd in the way they would state it. It's been a few years, so I can't remember exactly how they would state it. But I always
Like
felt
conditional?
something like that. Yes, yeah. I would always feel a little odd when they mentioned it, because the subjects around it were maybe a little ill-informed, because there weren't a lot of homosexual people at the church. Something like that. And also, I think what dang, this part. Yeah, probably a little more inclusion and a little more practicality, a little bit too, because a lot of the messages would include very like it'd include things like directly from the Bible, except at that church I was attending at the time, the pastor, whoever was giving like the speech and the sermon, wouldn't translate it like from the Bible times and what that would mean to like a current time. So they would still be talking about, like, back when it was like there was like no actual like big buildings or businesses or anything like that, and it was just like that, like BC times, and that doesn't translate well to now without someone to actually guide it with through the lessons and whatnot.
Okay. So who's next? Did everybody speak?
Mine's really quick. I don't think there's anything that could have kept me at the church per se, because I think at a certain point I would have gone out for myself, regardless, even if I was raised Catholic or not. I would have gone out for myself to study the religion.
Okay.
Same like I have recently with Buddhism and Islam and everything. But there were a lot of contradictions and a lot of hypocrisy when it comes to Christianity and Catholicism, that I felt like I would have always gone my own way in regards to that. There are a lot of parts of the Bible that I agree with 100%, and I hold very dear to my heart. Pretty much everything Jesus did, actually.
Okay.
But everything else, it's kind of very gray, and I don't agree with about 90% of it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and the fact that the entire religion is based on the book itself is just it's very contradicting.
Okay. Everybody spoke, right?
Yes.
Okay. So my next question is this. I have all these questions. It's if you don't have an answer for it, that's fine. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I just put down a bunch of questions. I'm still going to give you also okay, this is Kosi, an opportunity to say a few things, okay? So my next question is, so growing up, I don't want to say what role did your parents play in your decisions of view about the church or mosque, because we talked about that already, right? Or do you guys still want to discuss something more about that?
Okay.
I mean, I have a few small things, but
okay, yeah, go ahead.
So I've said it a couple of times, but like my family hasn't been like super pushy about religion. We like are very lax on it. But one of the things we have like stuck to religion wise is Ramadan.
Yeah.
So like for a while, like kids don't have to do it, but once like you hit puberty, at least as someone who's female bodied, once you like start getting your period, you do have to start like actually participating in that. But I participated in it for like a good 5-6 years. But I think sometime in like 2016, I stopped being able to because I couldn't go long periods of time without eating. My blood sugar would get really low. And at that point, Ramadan was smack dab in the middle of summer. And like living in the South and everything, that's completely hard. Yeah. And then like on top of that, towards the end of it, we traveled to Tunisia, which is northern Africa in the desert. So like that was really difficult. So like since then I haven't like been able to do it. Plus I started taking medications. But I know that made my mom like pretty upset, but like she didn't push it or anything, because like I said, like religion was something that we have to willingly do. So I think my mom helped a lot in like letting me make my own decisions about religion. She probably wouldn't like it though if I told her I don't follow any religion. So, but that's all I have for that.
Okay. Anybody else? Do you guys have any don't make me call names.
I don't really have anything else to add because I've already said it. Because my parents, like, you know, they're very Catholic. They just told me to go every Sunday with them, and that's really the biggest role they played, was bringing me to church every Sunday, even though I did not want to. That was it.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
It was just bringing me to church. That was I took it from there pretty much on myself. But I guess the constant church services kind of played a factor, but that's about it.
Okay.
It wasn't much.
My parents would take me every Sunday, sometimes on Wednesdays too, if they were like feeling it, if they wanted to or not, because they both worked. But they would take us every Sunday, and me and my brother. But it always felt like not a battle, I'm gonna say, but it always felt like for me and my brother, it was kind of a drag. We would have to be up at like 8 or some early time in the AM, and I don't think me and my brother are not morning people, so a lot of times we just like didn't wake up. So it just didn't super work out, and we'd always be like late because of me and my brother. Because even when we did wake up, we're like slow for a few hours, like we're not super there. And when you have to get up and get dressed and eat and then go to the place, which is like 20 minutes away or whatever, something like that, it just I think it felt pretty like draining for me and my brother. So we were always like kind of against going, kind of, but not actively. But they would still take us, and I feel like eventually it like wore down, and then we got to an age where they stopped going because we both were old enough, and it was like, I don't think they really want to go, so we just need
Leave
to
them alone.
not. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so growing up, this is another question. So growing up, what role did your society play in your views about church, mosque, Buddhist, temple, and all that? You understand the question?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I've already touched on this question like a lot in my answers to like previous ones.
Yes.
But I think just like speaking about how society has like affected my view of religion as a whole, not even like specific to certain ones, I definitely see like why people need religion. I understand that people need something to believe in because this universe is vast. It's it's very like hard to cope with, especially because it's like humans don't want to address the fact that might be nothing out there. There might be no purpose to anything, and I completely understand that. But like for me, just the hostility around and between religions have really just put me off entirely.
Mm.
It almost feels to me like it's not worth all of that.
Mm. Mm. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Thank you
For me, society didn't really, I mean, society made me feel like my religion was more normalized, I guess, because like growing up, like everyone at my school was, well, most of the people at my school, because I grew up on a military base, um, they're all mostly some form of Catholicism, and so I was like, okay, I mean, Catholicism is like the major, like is a major religion in America in general.
Mhm.
So it just seemed more normalized. But like growing up, I've met so many like diverse people and like different groups, like different religions, and all, like I have a lot of friends who are like all practice different religions and stuff. So I guess it made growing up it made me feel like it was, I guess, normal to
Okay.
be Catholic. But then after like I stopped attending church and I met more people, I was like, okay, there's everyone's different out there and they all have like there's just different religions in general that like Catholicism is not normal. It's just like one of the many religions out there, I
Okay.
Yeah,
guess.
I very much relate to that, Zach, and Rio actually. So I think when I lived in Nigeria from ages born till 13, I think I probably met one person of a different religion. I'm trying to think about it, but I met one Muslim, and that's when I was in secondary school. And I think he's probably the only person from a different religion that I ever met in all those 13 years, which thinking back at it right now is very crazy. But yeah, it was very little influence. And that's why I think when we came here and I got to experience like different people's religion and their point of view, it became a lot clearer to me that there's more to like everything than just the one track mind of the church, you know.
Okay.
It
I
is
think
time for me to step out real quick.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Okay.
I think so where I grew up in my community, I guess you could call it, just where I grew up in Georgia, it was I think it was predominantly white. And I know, so a lot of people around there, like the vast majority of like 90 something percent are like Christians. They're like hardcore Christians and everything. So as I grew up through like schools, you would expect the kids to also be like that amount, that the same level of Christian, of being devout to that religion. Except as you would get older through like middle school, high school, people would start like not really keeping up with religion or dropping it altogether for like an I don't know sort of answer.
Okay.
As teenagers grew up, and the people who like did keep up with that religion, in my experience, people like, for example, someone who would have like a Bible verse in their Instagram bio or something like that, or in their social media bio, would be like the people who had the worst attitudes towards other people or did like the worst things or this or that. Like for example, I played baseball throughout middle high school, and once I got into like high school, I think I did this once, and I tried out for the high school team. I was pretty quickly like deterred because the people on like said team were not like the people around who like wanted to be on that team, who also had the same interest and wanted to play baseball, were a lot of them were like Christian, right? But they were not like good people. And that really deterred me from even wanting to be there or be related to like kind of Christianity in general, because I saw like what people would put in like their own head of what they think like they wanted, like, or they were following a religion, but act like the complete opposite way the religion like wanted them to. And that always like off put me so much.
Okay. Wow. Thank you guys for sharing all this with me, for trusting me enough to share this with me. And I'm really learning a lot from you guys, and having a lot of understanding that, okay, so it was not just me. It's not just it's a general thing with a lot of teenagers, a lot of youth, a lot of young adults. So my next question is so growing up, was there anybody that taught you about the Bible, like enlightened you, like showed you, okay, like sat you down to explain the Bible, the Quran, um, besides besides your Sunday school teacher? Was there anybody, maybe parents at home, that sat you down to explain the Bible to you or the Quran?
For me, I had Sunday school, but my mom, at when we first started going to church, my mom was way more religious than my dad was, and so she basically tried teaching all of us about uh, Roman Catholicism and like the Bible, and so she would set us down and like make us read the Bible and stuff. And my dad is like my dad's just as religious as her now,
Okay.
and my older brother, I don't know, he's deployed, so I don't really get to talk to him about stuff like that or whatever. But and my little brother too. But I know for me, like my mom told me to read the Bible, and then I would read the Bible when I was younger. But I do not remember much about it. I know like some of the bigger stories and stuff like that, but I don't really remember anything about her teaching me the Bible at all.
Okay.
I just didn't pay
Um,
attention really. That was it. Yeah.
Except from Sunday school and the occasional like prayers where we like open the Bible and you read the passage from it and you explain the passage, which we did at our house a couple times. I actually remember the Easter vigil of some year. I was very young. It was one of the nights where we went to church and we like pulled an all-nighter. We were there the entire time, and it was basically like a celebration for Jesus's resurrection on Easter Day, which side story, funny story. I remember we'd be at church till like 6 a.m. Singing praises and worship just to come back at 11 a.m. for mass again to celebrate Jesus's resurrection. I just thought it was funny. Like, why didn't we just stay in church?
Yeah.
Why did we? Yeah. Regardless, I actually forgot where I was going with this now.
No, like who taught you about the Bible?
Yeah, I remember reading the Bible myself, and I got through a bit of it. I got through the first like 5 Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy. I got through I think all 4 of those, and then that was the first time I realized for myself that a lot of the things that are written in here are pretty impossible. Like, don't eat any seafood that isn't fish, or don't wear clothing of 2 different types. I was like, if a lot of people followed these, we'd not have we wouldn't have a lot of life right now. It'd be a lot of miserable people in the world. So I think that was the first time I really started deviating, which I think it's ironic because I started deviating from the church when I read the Bible. So.
And the thing is, yes, the old. Let me be a little bit of a preacher now. The Old Testament, a lot of things in the Old Testament. No, I don't want to say changed, but got easier after the death of Christ. You understand what I'm saying? So when you read the New Testament, like the 10 commandments became 2. Love your God, the Lord your God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul and everything, and love your neighbor as yourself, which still covers all the 10 commandments, but it's brought down into 2. So a lot of things like I remember there's a part in the Bible where Peter was hungry and they were preparing food for him and he fell asleep, and he was seeing the food that is called unholy. I don't want to bore you guys. I just want to say something.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah,
that was called unholy in his sleep, and he was like, "No, I can't eat all this. This is not holy." And I remember in the Bible, Jesus Christ was telling him that everything is holy. That he He has come, he has sanctified it, so he can eat it now. So what I'm driving at is things that in the Old Testament that seems difficult for us to follow, to do, because of the blood of Jesus. In the New Testament, it's different. We have grace. We have more room for grace to be able to do things, to do more things. So I don't know if I'm making any sense.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah. Okay.
You
So
are,
that's the way. That's what. Let me just run. That's what that is. So, so I'll say, Cozy, read a little bit more towards Matthew, Mark, Luke, John.
I also
that
have.
section, Romans.
Yes, I do like. I prefer the New Testament.
Yeah, towards the book of Romans
100%
and
more than the
Corinthians.
the Old Testament. Yes.
Yes.
I greatly prefer that part of the Bible.
Yes.
It makes sense. If there was a religion that only followed the New Testament, that would be it for me. That would be
that's what the new Christian is all about, the New Testament, right? So okay, wait, did everybody speak?
Yes, Rio
Okay.
isn't.
So the next question is this. So do you still believe in God's love and the death of Jesus Christ on the cross and the promises of Muhammad? Do you still have that belief, or do you believe that?
For me, I mean, as an agnostic, I don't really. I'm open-minded to every religion right now. Like I'm not atheist where I just don't believe in anything. I'm just open-minded. I don't know what I believe in yet.
Okay.
But I'm not really. I wouldn't say I don't believe in God's love and Jesus's death on the cross.
Okay.
I just I'm going further away from that, and I'm like trying to delve into other religions. Like Buddhism really like I'm really interested in learning about Buddhism.
Okay.
And that my friend, who was one of the first people who, like, as Cozy said earlier, he met his friend, someone who's like practiced a different religion for like the first time. I didn't meet this guy until like high school, and he taught me about Buddhism, and it was very interesting to me, and that's why I want to learn that. But,
okay.
Yes.
Okay. So who's next? Don't make me call names.
No, I feel like I have an answer. I'm just trying to. I'm putting it in words in my head right now. Roman, if you want to go, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Feel free to.
It's an interesting question. Do I still believe in Jesus's love and everything? I think that's, man, I don't necessarily have an answer to that. I think it probably, like, I think that whole situation of him getting crucified and whatnot, like, probably did happen in the past and everything. And being that I don't necessarily believe in anything makes it like weird to try and answer that.
Okay.
I don't believe that God, I'll say, I don't believe that God like doesn't love everyone and whatnot. And I don't not believe in God either. I think that God does exist.
Okay.
I just don't know if the Bible exactly, or certain things in the Bible exactly portray what he wants to portray. Because
Okay.
I like, maybe someone distorted it or something like that. But but do I still believe in Jesus's love is it's a very interesting question that I don't necessarily have an answer to, but I do believe that like God does love everything, I suppose.
Okay.
Okay, I think I have an answer. I do believe in Jesus's love. I believe there is a God.
Okay.
And I guess in that sense, I also do believe there is a Jesus Christ figure. So I do believe in Jesus's love. However, I guess what I don't believe in is that Jesus' love can be taken away by very menial things. Like a lot of what they like, for instance, being gay, for example. I don't believe Jesus' love can, or being of a different religion,
Mm.
right? Yeah, I don't believe like Jesus' love or God's love for you, or you're gonna go to hell if you do that, basically. But I do believe in Jesus' love.
Oh. Okay.
Sorry, what was the question? I just got back.
Yeah, the question is growing up. The question is, do you still believe in? One second. I think I lost the question. Oh, yeah. The question is, do you still believe in God's love, and do you still believe in the promises of Muhammad?
I guess not really. Probably because I didn't get taught a lot of it since we didn't go to mosques or anything, and we weren't super like strict on it. So I guess really no.
Okay.
Short answer.
Okay. But do you believe in God?
I'm kind of 50-50 on that.
Okay.
I want to,
Okay.
but I think at my core I know that I really don't.
Okay. 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 So did everybody speak?
Yes.
I'm trying to, okay. I want to make sure we all contribute, we all say our part. Okay. Let me move to the next question so that I don't take too much of your time. So the next question is, let me see. And this, I think I have an answer to it already, but I just want to ask. So growing up, where do you find yourself more fit? Is it within the church, the mosque, or within the community? I know. I mean, like Rio, right? I don't want to mix your names. Yeah, like Rio. I know you're not. You guys really didn't really go to the mosque or didn't really, but we can also say in the midst of of Muslims. So in your case, I'll say in the midst of Christians, in the midst of Muslims, where do you find your fit the most? You fit in the most. Is it within the community of the Christian or the Muslim, or within the secular world?
I think I definitely fit more in the circular world, at least for me, because of those like Islamophobia issues that I mentioned earlier. I think subconsciously I very much distanced myself from the Muslim community, which I honestly really wish I didn't, because I wish I knew more than I did. I wish I was able to relate more to those people, especially because a lot of them are like from my culture. But I think I do fit more in the circular world because of that.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, Kosi.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Zach. Go ahead.
I have I just have a question about what do you mean by the circular world? I just want to.
I mean, outside of church, outside of
the religion.
Yeah, outside of the religion.
Okay, I definitely fit most in with the circular world then, because I don't like to. The reason I'm agnostic right now is because I don't want to identify with a religion, because I don't feel like I fit in any religion right now.
Okay.
But I like to leave my mind open to learn more about other religions, such as like Buddhism.
Okay.
And so I want to learn to fit in with something like that and have something that I could like learn about that interests me. But as of now, I don't really fit into any category of a religion. So I would say the circular world is where I fit in.
Okay.
I would have to say the same thing. I'm more comfortable in the circular world. I think that I think that, or at least the communities that I've experienced personally are not the entire community, just that specific spot of where I like that church, for example. I think I am more open to everything than they are open to everything. I think that they're open to a fault, but they can also be openly like condescending.
Okay.
if that makes sense. Like they can be open and talk
Mhm.
about it and not, they won't hate you on the surface, but they might see a little less of you on that inside,
Mhm.
just like from a more raw standpoint. Like they might not admit that to themselves or anything, but like deep down they're like they feel that since they can't identify with you personally, or they don't like something that you are doing, they're going to think less of you. And I can't really do that as a person because I try to be as open as possible, and I think a lot of things that I don't necessarily understand. I try to think through it a lot. Like, oh, how will, like, it's kind of like an empathy thing. Like how would if I was that person, how would I feel if they did this and that and this and that?
Okay.
And I just don't think the community that I was that I just don't think the community that I have experienced would necessarily fit in what I would fit in with them.
Hmm. Okay.
I think I'd have to go with the society as well. I know a generic answer, but I have to agree with like everyone else. It's just I feel like I fit better in it with people of other religions because I feel like I'm open-minded enough to understand where other people are coming from. And I just feel like being with a demographic of people, a certain demographic of people too long would narrow your understanding of how everything else works.
Okay.
Um, so I definitely feel I'm more in tune with everywhere else
Okay.
now that I've had a taste of
Okay.
both sides of the story.
Okay. Okay. Um, this one also is kind of I want to say I'm trying to find the best way to put the question. Like, okay, have any one of you had to say, you know what? I mean, and some of you answered this question already. Have you had to just say, you know what? I'll just go to church with my parents because if I don't go, there'll be consequences. I can't take care of myself alone by myself at the moment. So you know what? Because I'm still young, I'll just go to church with them, or I'll go to the mosque with them, or I'll go to the temple with them.
I
I
Yes.
yeah.
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 Rio, if you wanna go
Oh,
first.
I was just gonna say, like, even though I like never really went to a mosque a lot, like that one time was definitely out of respect for like the other family that we were with. But I did feel like some pressure to follow at least the like the rules of the religion, for lack of a better term that I can't think of.
Okay.
um for me, I I said this earlier, but yeah, I go to I when I'm with my parents in Utah, they go to church still every Sunday, and I go with them. It's both a mixture of like I don't want to say I don't want to go because I don't follow that religion,
Okay.
and it's that, and I still have respect for the religion.
Okay.
Mhm.
Um, it's the same with like when I'm with friends. Like if they want me to go to their like religious building, like a mosque or a church or anything, I'll go with them out of respect for that. And also, I'd want to learn. I just want to learn more about like other religions in general because I think it's better to be more informed about other religions than just be like, no, I don't want to because I don't care about it. I think it's good to learn about other people's cultures in general.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I definitely think there have been times that I've gone to church just so I wouldn't be bothered for the rest of the day, or I've gone to church just so my parents wouldn't um talk to me about not going to church, or like give me the talk about deviating away from the church. There have also been times where I would uh like for instance, if I want to do something at like 11, or if I want to go out with my friends to get breakfast or something, I would wake up pretty early at like and go for the really early mass just so I wouldn't have to, because the early mass it's a lot quieter, it's a lot less people, just so I wouldn't have to go for the packed mass with like everyone else and everything. um So yeah, I've definitely on multiple occasions just gone out of respect or gone for the sole purpose that I didn't want any qualms about not going.
Not going. Okay.
I for sure have gone like just because of respect for someone else's family. Like if I was like sleeping over at a friend's house and they wanted to go, I wasn't gonna say like no, because I feel like that's a little rude. You're in their house eating their food and having like a good time with them and whatnot. And so you might as well experience what they experience and go through. And I was also like not against it either. I'm very curious about just things. So I like to go see what other places, what other churches are like. Like again, I've only been to majority like African churches.
Okay.
So if I was hanging out with a white friend of mine and they wanted to go to a church, I'd be like, okay, well, cool. Like I kind of want to experience that what the differences are between like those cultures and how they worship the same religion. I just think that's really interesting, and I'd like to witness that.
Okay. Okay. Just to round up, I'll just give you guys just take a minute each to just say things that you rather see in church, like if there's any or even in the mosque, things that you think will keep, which you have already talked about. So just to round up, like just if you have any additional comments, so just feel free.
Go ahead.
Something I'd like to see added to like church in general and like other religious places is not teach their like, especially like for like the younger people who are like whose families are bringing in younger their children. I want them to be less judgmental. And I want the families to have the kids become less judgmental of other religions and people at the same time, because it's just like my family growing up, obviously they didn't like other religions and people who are gay or anything like associated with LGBT or people who just had different views in general. My family was very hateful, and I'd rather have, I want the church to enforce like less hate, I guess, for people growing up, because I just don't like that in general. That's the simple way to put it, but yeah.
I agree with Zach. And I mean this with no like shade or anything, and this goes for almost every religion as well.
Mm-hmm.
But for a religion whose main selling point is love your neighbor as yourself and love everyone the way God would love you, they hate a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
For a religion who's supposed to love everyone, they hate a lot of people, which I don't think is right in any way. So yeah, that if that could change, that'd be great.
Okay.
I agree. I think instead of I always like have to wonder how people who actively like hate something, and when you think about it, hate is such a strong like term. When you say you hate something, it's like from the pits of your like an entire being. Like how can you dislike something so much that you like want it dead? Like what? Like
how do you wake up that angry?
Exactly. That amazes me. And then it amazes me that a religion based off of like Jesus doing acts of good for random people who he didn't like before he did a kind act for you. He didn't, hey, are you Christian? Are you are you under my religion? He wouldn't like he wouldn't do that. Exactly. Yeah. He wouldn't do that. So why are you going out of your way to actively dislike something or someone, a religion, a person so much just because of like their being? I just would like for churches to discuss that within themselves. Maybe get rid of that stigma of just so much dislike and discourse through just through each other's communities. It's very distancing. It's very peculiar.
Okay.
I think Roman was the one who mentioned this earlier, but it's just, I think if things were not modernized, but more like interpreted for modern times, I feel like that would fix a good bit of our issues with religion and society and how they clash together. But like agreeing with like everyone else, the inclusionary part, the whole love everyone the same. It's really incredible how they keep repeating that phrase over and over and over again, and then they'll turn around and just shade out to your face, say, no, just not you.
Mhm.
Pretty much, we love everyone except you.
Mm,
It's just like, it defeats the whole point.
mm, mm.
And like, it's just, if you're going to follow the religion, why aren't you doing what you keep saying you're going to do? It doesn't make sense to me.
At least study up, like, please.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Like, you don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just inclusion, like better inclusion, and just like not changing the words, but like interpreting in a way that could fit like today would be a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay. Because we're running out of time again. Zoom. Oh. Anyway, I'm really enjoying this. And I'm so honored that when I spoke with Cozy, he's like, okay, my friends said they'll do this, they'll do it as a group. And I like this, the group discussion where we're free, everybody's saying their own, telling their own story in their own way, and the uniqueness and the individuality and also the community, if there's such a word, of the whole sit down, I really love. And I want to say thank you. And since we only have a minute, just quickly introduce yourselves one more time, then we can round up the show.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I'm Zach Bones. I live in Marietta, Georgia. I go to Kennesaw State as a sophomore.
Thank you, Zach.
I'm Rio Kabar. I also go to Kennesaw State. I'm a sophomore here, also in Marietta, Georgia.
Thank you, Rio.
My name is Kosi Juchima, and I also surprisingly go to KSU. I'm a junior in Marietta, Georgia.
Thank
My
you.
name is Roman Vernon, and I go to KSU just like everyone else here. And
We all go to the same
Who
school.
would have thought? Who would have thought? Wow.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Roman. Thank you so much, guys. I really am very honored. And you guys, please stay safe out there. And you guys have a wonderful week, okay?
Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.